What's up, everybody? Back here for episode 39 of the Pitside podcast. Another fantastic episode this week. We've got Tom Taylor, owner and proprietor of SBGC 3D Printing. He's here to talk about some stuff outside of racing that he's got going on. I had no idea. It's really interesting, really cool. And then we've got another segment, Connor's Corner, at the end of the episode, and we'll find out how he did back at Flamborough this past week. So we'll get started here in just a minute.
Welcome to the Pitside Podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the Coast to Coast Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Here's your host, the A-Let Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bass Man, Craig.
So we're back. It's been a pretty interesting week. There's been some developments going on in the background. I understand that you've got a pretty big announcement to make regarding something that people have asked for in the past, and we have always said no to. So I'm going to leave it at that. I know we'll get into it here in a few minutes, but it's been a fun week. We've had the car turnouts are still way higher than we expected this time of the year. So
it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it really has been. It's been a lot of fun too. It's nice seeing all the guys come out, and I'm seeing a lot of regulars too. I mean, of course we have tons of regulars now, but it's you're seeing some of the old faces show up on Wednesday night and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. Maybe some of that is because I'm finding myself not towards the front here lately, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. We have fun. At least we have fun in Discord. The team, but. You enjoy the heats and the consi because that may be all you get into. It's just been amazing that the car counts have been just crazy.
Now, if Roger and I look a little fresher than normal this week, we did have to split this into 2 days. The Toilet Bowl 100, which we'll get into in just a moment, went long yesterday. I think we didn't finish until almost 11 o'clock, and we do typically film on Wednesday. If you are going to be coming on, we're going to be switching that to Tuesday here soon. Anyway. But so we did spill into Thursday here, and Roger and I decided to run dirt mods this evening. Did not make the feature, so we got to do some testing. You'll see the other videos during our interviews that Roger had the green shower curtain behind him. We're able to get that worked out on Thursday night, so now we've got a nice, pretty background. Now we've just got to work on this back here. But it's the Toilet Bowl was an interesting race. The 100 laps, I think it went pretty well, really.
I thought it was amazing. So, a big shout out to Cody Early, and I don't have a sheet in front of it, the Pro Late Model Dirt Series. A great group of guys that came over, and everybody put on a great show. I think we had we had max. It was 45 cars. We had guys that could not get in the room again. So, and I think with the 305s earlier in the night at Hometown Heroes, it was. We'll get back. We'll talk about the car counts in a minute. I guess I should just stay focused on one thing at a time. But amazing racing, and a big shout out to those guys. They all came in. I was admitting, it's. I'm one of the worst admins out there. My problem is I get involved watching the race.
Yeah.
I get involved as a spectator, although I was using blimp view for most of it, so you can't see the detail, which is probably good for me. I'm just looking for the wrecks or whatever, potential issues. But from what I saw, it was like pretty clean racing for 100 laps. And just a big shout out to those guys and our guys. The cool thing was it was kind of like an equal mix. I thought some of those guys might come in and just totally dominate because there's some guys with pretty high I ratings. But it was very, very competitive. And I think, Cody is a great guy. The common bond here is Andy Piercefield, and but going beyond that, Cody is a class act, and we look forward to having. Well, we got a few things in the works, so that partnership will continue, and we'll have things to announce down the road. And speaking of that, can't wait to. Cody's going to do a few of the announcements for some of our events, and he is the best ads I've ever heard. The guy is just off the top shelf on that stuff. So, anyways, it's but the race was great. And what were your thoughts on it? I mean, you're another guy that
Well,
I don't think you made the feature either.
no, I didn't. So Cody, just speaking to Cody, I was in the thread with him while we were planning and stuff. Didn't have to participate a whole lot because you handled a good chunk of that. But we certainly have had no animosity towards any league out there. That's
No.
never really happened
No.
at all.
No.
But I will tell you, as far as Cody goes, I've not been involved with a lot of other guys that run leagues. But he's a class act, and if
Yep.
you're looking for something that's specifically late models, don't skip our stuff to go run with them, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what? They've got to be a good league. That everybody came in seemed to have a good attitude. There were some rule differences, no complaints. It's just get in there and run. I didn't know because I don't know our late model drivers as well as the sprint car drivers. So there were some names even in our league that I still don't know real well yet. But watching who I thought were their drivers, everybody ran real clean, and it was nice. And it's good to see guys just jump in there like that. So, like you're saying, we're going to continue that partnership, not just because Cody seems to be a stand-up guy, but the guys in their league seem like they have similar mindsets to what we do, and so we'll definitely be keeping that moving. And I know we've started talking about some future plans as well.
Well, I think the big thing is, and just from our first discussions and stuff, talking to Cody and with Andy, there's no egos in the room, and that goes miles. So, and they run their league a lot different than the way we run ours. But there's more than one formula, and I actually talked to Cody this morning about he was like saying everything went well and we're really pumped. But I said, okay, what were any issues? Continuous improvement. And he had a couple of suggestions that I'll share with you. Maybe you were in that thread, but it was nothing major. It's just kind of communication and just working forward. But everything went great overall. And kudos to Andy Piercefield for putting this together and coming up with the toilet bowl trophies. I think that they're pretty cool. And if you're watching the podcast, Andy explained the background on those, which is pretty cool. Yep. The other one too, though, was I have to admit, because we're bringing on so many, we're averaging 5 to 7 guys, 10 guys a week coming in the league. So I thought they swept the podium, and it turns out like 2 of the guys are in our league, but they've only been in it for a while. So and you and I don't run pro lates much or whatever. So I wasn't familiar with some of those names, so I'm kind of embarrassed about that. But what a problem to have. Our league is so big, you can't keep track of everybody. But no, it was a great event, and look forward to more down the road. We'll have more announcements to make down the road with them, and we're already working towards the next stuff.
Yeah,
So.
and having said that, I think now's as good a time as any. We want to make sure we welcome all our new drivers each week. So we have had several new ones this past week. So we have the number 56 in Ryan Pendleton, 999 Hunter Tepstra, and also I will mention as I'm going through this that the names are a little bit easier this week. So I appreciate that. Say thanks to Bill. I guess he's turning the tough names apart after last week, or tough names away. I mean, Jason McSparron in the 444. The 235 of Zachary Thornton, the 021 of Blaine Brink, 148 of Will Cloud, the 001 of Nicholas Shriver, who's just running Roadrunners with us, and the 075 of Austin Stern. So welcome, guys. If you happen to run into those guys out on the track, give them a little grace because we don't know their current skill level, and we ask welcome them to the league if you can help them out somehow. That's important to us. I know we'll call that the Terry Landis way, because he used to be kind of famous for that. He'd see guys that he didn't know and kind of take them under his wing, at least briefly, and that's helpful into creating great drivers in our league. I think a lot of the guys that have improved a lot since they joined will tell you that there was probably somebody that stepped up when they first started racing that helped them out and got involved and explained some rules and those kind of things. So if you run into any one of those guys, make sure you say welcome and give them some help if they need it.
Yeah, for sure. And every week we're getting multiple guys joining the league, which is great. Car counts, we thought the car counts would diminish, and the Monday night, we cut back to 3, but like last season the Raiders was pretty thin. We're getting almost not full car counts, but we're getting full features and more. Guys you got to get through the consi. So the numbers have been great. And then Wednesday night is over the top. It's just it's crazy. I think we've hit a magic formula there, and it's good to see some of the more skilled drivers are starting to show up for those, and and the cream rises to the top, and it's been very cool. But I gotta tell you, I'm cheating a bit. So I always run the 305s, and I get in the 305 races, and just after I qualify, I turn up the volume on the broadcast because I want to hear what John Hine has to say for all the tips. John is hitting it out of the park. He takes the car around, shows people the track, talks about where it's going to where to run the different cars, and I'm paying attention, man, because it's been helping me, John. Thanks a lot. Doesn't mean I can make a feature, but I kind of ran into some tough luck this week, but I won't get into that. But wasn't. Well, I think I finished P5 in the Consi. I missed it by one.
Yeah.
So, oh no, that was a C main. I missed getting into the B main by one.
Well, yeah, kind of the same thing, I guess. So you're talking about the car counts being up or being heavy in Raiders at least. They've been down in Rebels and Renegades at least this past week, and that's because essentially 10 guys that would usually have transferred were not able to transfer. Now Raiders was a little bit better. None of the Rebels could transfer. There was 0 guys that were eligible in Rebels, and obviously the Renegades they don't transfer, but the ILs are still pretty high there too. This past week was better, but we still saw a handful of guys that with over 0.4 and that kind of thing, and we got to get that cleaned up because it's. We're getting close to. We're not far from that halfway point. That halfway marker for the season, and once you get there, it's hard to. The IL goes up a lot easier than it does go down. So it's going to take a little work for some guys to get it back down in order to stay in the division they're in. And in some cases, they're already in a division lower than they really probably belong.
So one of the issues there was we didn't pick and I'm not going to say who picked those tracks, but it wasn't me. I'm going to say that, but. We didn't pick the best 2 tracks. I think next season we'll make sure that the first 2 are, some of the friendlier tracks, so people aren't off to a bad start and they're, struggling to get it down. But I gotta say, really, I know there's a lot of beefing and bitching about, ILs and stuff. But the fact is, they're saying, everybody's causing me issues and stuff like that, and everybody's hitting me. Well, it takes 2 to tango. Like, you got to think of the law of averages here. Seriously, step back and if you don't math at all, think of the law of averages. So if Joe Schmo has got if you're splitting those incidents, if Joe over here has got less incident, like a lower average than you, how can he be the problem? Because he's not hitting as many people as you are. Like, he's not making contact. Right. Everybody's saying it's these the guys, different guys that are not skilled. But if they've got a lower IL than you're making contact with more people. And I think there's a message here for some pretty significant drivers. You got to clean your act up. You got to race cleaner. There's too many guys that are super fast, but they're bulldozing their way to the front, and it's starting to show up. And I think this is the year where there's a lot of guys can't transfer, and I think some guys thought it was just going to be an easy run if they moved down a division because they had a high IL, and then I get to run 2 races. Well, guess what? If you can't get out of your division, you can't run clean in your division, then you're not going to be racing in the A division. The A division is for the cream, and the cream are the cleaner drivers. And having said that, if you look at the Raiders, our C division, their ILs are lower. Yeah. So, figure this out. Those guys should be all through the roof, and they're not. So, anyways, it's I think it's working, and I think a lot of guys don't like it, mainly because it's working. But I think there's some of the better drivers are enjoying it because they don't have to deal with some of the thumping that's they've been used to. But anyways, we'll see how that turns out. But hey, buddy, I got a huge announcement to make.
Okay, let's have it.
Okay, so we're just coming off the Toilet Bowl 100, and it was a great event. But next week, we had Dylan Westbrook on last week, just a class guy, and I'll give you an idea how classy he is in a second. So we're having the Mike Westbrook Memorial. Mike passed away a year ago on Monday. Big family guy. Just can't say enough about
Dylan's uncle, right?
Dylan's uncle.
Yeah.
And just he was a class act and fabulous with kids. So it's kids' night. We'll be giving away some Lynn's Huggables, and we'll talk about that through the week. There'll be some forms to fill out, and all the kids are eligible to win those. I think it was Brad Templeton won them last time. So, but along with kids' night, Dylan contacted me after the interview and said, I want to make this more fun for the drivers. I want to put it out there. I want these guys to get hooked up. So here, this is Dylan Westbrook. Our sprint car. Canadians, if not the best, right at the top, cream of the crop. So Dylan is pledging to the it'll be the 360s on Wednesday night, Hometown Heroes. That'll be the Mike Westbrook Memorial. It'll be 50 laps, and we'll be doing the 4 wide and the missing man. I'm praying that comes off okay, because normally we do it with the Renegades, who are our top skilled drivers, but we'll do our best here. And so the top 5 guys, Dylan Westbrook, we do not race for money. We've always had that policy. We will not do money racing. But Dylan requested this, and out of respect for Dylan and in Mike's memory, Dylan has he's pledged $150. So what we will be doing is paying out 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10 to the top 5 drivers in that race. So and as a result of that, this is being announced Sunday morning. We will not accept any new applications to the league until after Wednesday. We're not going to get. We don't want ringers coming in and taking this away. This is our dedicated people that show up especially on Wednesday nights, and we will up the car count to 60 to make sure everybody can get in. But so it's Dylan wanted to let's make this interesting for the drivers. So 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. We were talking about doing iRacing credits, but Preston and I were talking just before we went on air, and he said, let's just do money, see how it goes, and we'll see how it goes. But
and obviously, with there being money on the line, we'll be more cognizant of any issues going on. And so I want to reiterate what we were just talking about racing clean. If anything comes about where someone crashed their way to the front or anything like that, you will forfeit your prize money, and I assume it will donate it to a charity or something like that, because that's not going to be acceptable. I don't anticipate that being an issue. Most of the guys in our league are pretty classy guys and aren't going to do that just because there's money on the line. But I do want to reiterate that, and that is going to be at the league's discretion. We certainly have no bias against anybody winning, any particular person winning money, so that is not a concern. But we will go back and review any particular issues that may come up. There'll be extra eyes on the race because we want it to be fair. We want everybody to have an equal shot at it, and IL is not going to necessarily be the factor here, but you do need to be cognizant of the way you're driving as you're getting closer to those money positions.
Yeah, you bring up a real good point, and this is a test case. So if you guys screw it up, it'll never happen again.
Right.
So I think better of the guys. I think that they're more than capable of putting on a phenomenal show, and so this is a good experiment for us. And by the time this podcast is out, we will have some rules around that. So Preston brings up some really good thoughts. I like that idea of if somebody's deemed to be that they smashed their way to the front, we'll donate that money to a charity. So anyways, hopefully this will go well, and it doesn't give us a ton of headaches. So we'll see how that goes. But it's exciting stuff, and can't thank Dylan enough.
Yes.
And I guess my announcement is I'm going to thank him personally at the Knoxville Nationals, because I'm going, buddy. I'm going down for the 360 Nationals.
Now, you're going to be. Are you going to be in the pits for that?
I don't know. We'll have to see when we get closer. Typically, so I'm going down with Dylan's grandparents, and we typically sit in the stands and go down after the race.
Mm-hmm.
But we might want to. We might want to get a pit pass for one of those nights, for sure. So, I have to talk to Dylan a little more and see about that. But, yeah, totally pumped about that, buddy. Totally pumped about traveling again. I didn't realize, until started talking about this trip and booking it. Plus, we're going to go down. We're only 6 hours. It's a 12-hour drive to Knoxville. And then I said to my wife, we're only 6 hours from Branson. So, like, hey, why don't we just go down there for a week and chill? So that we're going to do that. So, yeah. But I didn't realize how much I had missed that stuff through COVID until I started putting this stuff together and realized how excited I was getting. And for the mind, this is really good for mental health. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, I've got a vacation coming up myself that I'm quite looking forward to for the same reason. Yep,
and it'll be great just to see people, and it's just. Things are getting better already. We're visiting people and stuff, and we're counting on the border being more open. And I don't think it's a problem going to the States. It's a problem getting back up in Canada. So,
is that right?
I think if we've had our shots, we're okay. But if not, you still got to quarantine for 14 days. So, whatever I have to do, I'll do. I'll just race in my rig for 14 days. I don't care. But it's pretty pumped about that, and I'm looking. So there will be a meet and greet in Knoxville. I've already talked to Steve Bixler. Blake Chapman will be there. I'm thinking Josh
Gerlach
will be there, and so anybody. Bob the Good is talking about coming up for it. So if you're going to be at the Knoxville Nationals, we're going to do a meet and greet. Get to a restaurant one morning and. Everybody get together and say hi. So that's all exciting, And we'll have to talk on another podcast about the Can-Am racing team doing a get-together, a rendezvous at Eldora later in the year. But I don't want to talk too much about that, or we'll be ramming. Because we got a couple of great interviews here. We got a phenomenal interview with Tom Taylor. Man, the Sailor Boy. Some of this isn't racing, but it's just... unbelievable stories. So you don't want to miss this, and you don't want to miss Connor. How did he do this last week? He put that car in the wall. He's made friends with both ends of the track wall up to now. So who did he get to meet or whatever this week? We stay tuned and find out. So we got a lot going on, and you'll see. It's continuous improvement here. So. I think I got a cool background here, but right now I'm just looking at a green curtain. But I think you'll be looking at a green curtain in the interviews, because those were done ahead of time, and we're just, technically advancing each week. So we're hoping to get the podcast better. And don't forget, it's out there, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, anywhere else, Preston?
Yes, and I don't even remember them all now. There's it's gone up on 3 or 4 more different platforms this past week. One of them's Breaker. There's a Pocket Cast or something like that. They're on there. So if there's a podcast app you use, it's probably on there. So and if there's one you don't that you use that you don't see it on there, let me know, because I'm pretty sure. I've got it figured out pretty easily now that I can just basically, I don't even have to upload it. I can just make it show up. So if there's somewhere you want to listen to the podcast, if it's hard to watch the video, I know for me, I don't like to watch myself. So if you don't like to watch me, but it's okay to listen to me, then maybe the audio option is the way to go. So it's out there for you. You should be able to find it. However, for me, I'll plug it in, and even though it's kind of listening to myself and it's a little strange, I get in the car on my way to work and I plug it in and I'll listen to it and listen back to it, and that's probably a little bit easier for some folks. So make sure you catch it that way. I guess if you're watching the video version, you don't need to do that. But anyway, so like Roger said, we've got a couple of great interviews here. Tom, I knew Tom was a pretty talented guy just from listening to the businesses he was involved in. But this is a whole nother side of Tom that I had no idea about. And I tell you what, I was very impressed. So we'll talk to Tom now, and then we'll come back right afterwards, and we'll check out Connor's Corner. And like Roger said, we'll find out if he hit anybody or anything and see how he did. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been episode 39. We'll see you back here again next week.
And we're back again with Tom Taylor, the Texas Tornado. How you doing, Tom?
I'm well. It's awesome to be back with you guys. It's been a while.
So a lot has happened since we were with you last. Inside and outside of iRacing. So in iRacing, and we'll come back to that in a minute, but you have really, really stepped up your game. I can't catch it out, man. It's you've been running great. But after the last interview, I mean, there's lots of stuff happening. The Texas Tornado or Sailor Boy. So I followed your whole Facebook thing when you went and picked up that sailboat for a buddy. And was it 45 days or 53 days? How long did that take?
Man, it was officially 55 days, and in Louisiana, I told him I'm done. I'm not getting back on the boat. So it was supposed to be 15 days at the most, in case we need to really be careful, 30, and it ended up being 55 days to get to Grand Isle, Louisiana.
So where did you start and finish? I guess Grand Isle is where you finished, but...
Yeah, Grand Isle is where I finished, but the pickup was in North Carolina, so we jumped in a rental and drove a rental out to North Carolina. My buddy had purchased a boat, unloaded the rental and loaded everything onto the boat, shook it down for 2 or 3 days, sailing it right around the little area there, and we were ready to go. And we started the journey to head back to Texas from North Carolina. So it's pretty good trip.
And I assume, and I don't know the geography maybe as well as I should, but I assume you use the Intercoastal Waterway most of the way down the eastern seaboard, right?
You ever been fishing in the Intercoastal Waterway?
I have not, actually.
Yeah, nah, it's not worth a damn. If you go out about 15 to 40 to maybe 90 miles, it's a lot more interesting what you run into when you're fishing.
So you did not come down the Intercoastal?
Pretty much no. Not unless we were in the middle of hurricane weather. We skipped all that. It's a 35-foot boat. It's perfect for handling whatever gets thrown at you out in the ocean. So ICW is nice, but man, there's a bunch of bridges you got to go under, and when you're in a sailboat with a big mast, you got to radio in and ask them to open the bridges for you and all of that. Riff-raff. It's a pain, Roger. It's
So let's discuss the bridges and stuff, because one of the shortcuts is going through. I'm going to shoot myself for not knowing the big lake in Florida.
Okeechobee, you know it.
Okeechobee,
you can't,
absolutely.
Bass man, you know it. The Okeechobee, man.
So you're going to take the shortcut, and now, how high was your mast?
Hold on, I got the new boat versus the boat that I was riding on. We were 43 foot. 43 foot. 43 foot was my boat. Yeah. So
how far did you sail in that inner waterway? Did you get to Okeechobee, or you didn't get that far?
We could see Okeechobee.
No. So and that bridge was you had a 43-foot mast, and the bridge was what, 42?
It's supposed to be 40. It's supposed. Well, it's funny now that we get into this. It's supposed to be 43 foot all day long. It's like stamped on the side of it, 43 foot. Okay, so we were 41 foot, but Okeechobee and the river were 3 feet high. So they told us, they were like, it's gonna be close on whether you're gonna get there. So we attempted to roll up on it very slowly, and that slowly didn't work, and the height didn't work, and the mast hit the freaking bridge. And then I spent the next 2.5 hours trying to figure out how to lean the boat over far enough that we could motor through that thing with an angle, but I couldn't do it. We have the little dinghy that's the inflatable, 4-man boat that you have behind it. I literally sunk it where it was underwater with ropes from the top of the mast tied to it and put all of our water in it to try to lean the boat over. And it didn't lean it over enough. I even ended up jumping in the middle of the boat, on the side of it, in the river, trying to lean it over to get over. And we couldn't get it to move over enough, man. So we had to just abandon ship, turn around and go back. And it ended up costing us like 13, 14 days to turn around.
Yeah. I remember seeing that video, and it's just kind of like, wow, having to turn back and then go down. Now you got to go down around the tip of Florida, and you
got to go through the Keys, Roger. Trust me, it sucked as far as not making it back in time for Thanksgiving with the family, but the fact that we got to go cruise through the Keys was incredible. It's 8 to 14 foot deep, and you can see the movement in the sand on the bottom of the ocean. It's crazy.
Speaking of crazy, so now you get around the tip of Florida and you're heading to Texas. Tell us about that one night on the water, or 2 nights, and with the Coast Guard and everything else.
Roger, you just went straight to it. Come on, man. You could have given me some fishing stories or something else. But dude, it's hardcore. I grew up racing, so it's a little bit different. I grew up racing on a sailboat. I didn't cruise on a sailboat. I've next to never jumped on a sailboat and said, "Hey, let's go see how nice it would be to cruise around for 3 days." That's never happened. I'm a racing guy. We're trying to make that SOB go as fast as it can from start to finish, no matter what's happening.
Hold on, time. So you're a racing guy. So you took this 15 to 30 day cruise and turned it into 55 because you go so fast. I just want to clarify this. Is that right?
Yeah. It was all due to my lack of speed and nothing to do with hurricanes.
So tell us about that experience, though, because I was reading it and I was just like spellbound by it.
Man, there's a lot to get into here that I could explain all of it, but to try to keep it to short and simple and whatnot, man, we just had too much rags in the air, too many rags in the air, too much sail, too big a sail. If the winds pick up and it starts to get crazy, you put smaller sails up. A buddy of mine decided that it would be a better idea to buy a $300 speaker, Bluetooth speaker, so that we could jam out on music than it would be to fix the $300 part that makes the sails smaller whenever you get in trouble. So we had great music as we headed out across the Gulf, and then the storm blew in, a northerly came in early, and we couldn't make the sails any smaller. And it was hairy, to say the least. I mean, the boat was just, it was doing its thing, but it was really moving around a lot. And for a guy that didn't know much about sailing, and he was the owner of the boat, he was freaking out. And I told him at like midnight. I mean, I'm talking midnight out in the middle of the Gulf. It's just crazy. We got no lights, no batteries, dead. We had it short. Everything had gone wrong. We literally were using one flashlight. We were down to one flashlight and DeVault rechargeable batteries to fire up the CD whenever we needed to speak to whoever we needed to speak to. So it was down to craziness. And I told him, I said, man, go up there and leave me go roll that thing up by hand, but you got to leave me something up there. Leave me enough to keep us going. By daylight, I'll have us close enough to where we can figure out where we're going by daylight. And he decided that wasn't the right plan. He rolled the sail up completely, which the sailboat wants a front sail and a back sail. It doesn't ever want to be without one or the other. It just behaves better with both. And he came back and he was like, all right, dude, I rolled them both up. I'm like, all right. And they call it heave two. You basically just pull one sail in and turn the boat all the way into the wind, and you might as well just go to sleep. And it just goes up the wave and comes down, goes up the wave and comes down, and just behaves very nice, doesn't do anything crazy, but it's like giving up. It's like throwing up the white flag. I could have killed him. I was like, dude, I mean, I would literally, we were 35 miles off the shore in Louisiana when he made the decision to go ahead and just, give up. And the next morning we ended up getting a hold of Coast Guard, and that's a whole other fantastic story, but we got a hold of Coast Guard, and Coast Guard ended up pulling us in from there. So it was defeating. It hurt my soul to have them do it.
but there's good lessons there too. Like here you're an experienced sailor, and things can go wrong. And I mean, you weren't that many things more going wrong before it could have really become bad.
Nah, it never got there. Never got there.
Yeah,
never got
way
there.
Got way beyond where I'd be comfortable.
And that's fine. And that's fine. When my buddy, I all credit to him in the world. Whenever it was to the point where I was like, "Bro, you're gonna have to do this." He stepped up and he would do it. But it was never life threatening. I never felt like I was gonna die. It was never anything like that. But I've got the experience, so I'm trying to convey that to the other guy that's like, "We're gonna die," It is what it is.
It doesn't help that I watched that movie Adrift somewhere in around when that happened to you too.
My wife just watched that, and I've had to answer 100 questions after that.
Yeah. So after your wife watching that, and after you going through this harrowing experience, tell us about your next adventure.
Well, there was a moment during that Coast Guard pull-in where I was speaking with the captain of the boat. I mean, you guys, it's really something else to have an 86-foot, death marching machine come up and go, "Hey, I got you for the rest of the night. We're here." Having our armed forces, having the U.S. Coast Guard, as mad as I was at my buddy for putting up the white flag and giving up and we're going to go limping in, it is really quite the experience to know that our country has our back. And that, man, when they show up, it's very much a relief. It's something else. So they pulled up next to us and dropped us out lines with little radios on it because we were with no lights, no radio. We were dead. I mean, we were out of power. So they threw a floaty box to us, if you will, and we pulled it up on the side of the boat, and we got radios and we could talk to them and whatnot. But hey, man, in the middle of that, next morning, sunrise is coming up, sea's finally starting to calm down, and they're pulling us in at 7 knots. And the captain said, he's like, "Tom, I only have one motor just put in gear, and I'm dragging y'all at 7 knots." Like, we're just cruising. It was. In that moment, I started chit-chatting with him, and I was like, "Man, this is where it's at. Where Americans still come out here, and when they see one that needs help, they jump over there and help them. It's not all this other stuff that we see. It's just hey, we're all on the same team, and I'm going to help you." And it really hit me hard. And to think about how many stops that we had along the way, where it was the same reaction at every marina. Whether it was a $20 marina or a $2,000 marina, it was the same action. "Hey guys, what's up?" Sailors. The rest of it was just irrelevant. So it was refreshing to get back to that part of patriotism and American way. Where everyone just helps everybody.
That's cool, man. But so as a result of that, you're back racing with us. But tell us about your other plans you got now going forward.
Yeah, so we're abandoning ship, if you will. My family and I have pretty much got the house ready to go on the market, and we're going to sell the house and then jump in the truck with a little enclosed trailer with the puppies, and we're going to drive down and move on to a boat in Florida, and we're going to have our primary residency on a 51-foot sailboat. You guys are going to love this. 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. Complete with wine cooler, ice maker, water maker, refrigerator, freezer. Guys, it's just ridiculous. So,
are you just going to live at port, or do you plan on traveling?
I plan on traveling quite a bit. In my day job in the southern patio enclosures part, I got the 3D print, but I got the southern patio enclosures that I do with those. Most of my business is on the East Coast. So I can move around on the sailboat over there and go see customers. So I see it as that. I see it as a sales opportunity.
Yeah, right.
It's totally a sales opportunity. I'm here to make money.
Well, it's totally cool. I just don't know how you're going to continue in the league because you're talking like you're still going to race. So I'm not quite. Are you going to have a rig on this boat?
Oh, the rig's coming with me. Without a doubt, 100%. Yeah. But the tricky part is it's Wi-Fi at the boat. And it's always going to be Wi-Fi at the boat. I'm never going to plug in at the boat. But these marinas have business offices. So for these, rich dudes come cruising in their billion-dollar yachts, they roll in there and they can have their meeting in a little cubicle and whatnot. I'm going to take one of those cubicles over, mount my steering wheel in there, and hardwire. Typically, you can find a switch or a router somewhere close. So I got 200 foot of cat I'm going to take with me, and I'll find where it is and plug into it. So I'm going to try to do at least the Thursdays. I'm in love with the trucks, and I'm in love with the cup cars. Love it.
That's where I've been used to following you around. If I'm having a good day, I'm right behind Tom Taylor. So you've been really killing that, and like your skill level has just gone up and up and up, buddy, and in all classes. So so tonight we had the Toilet Bowl 100, which. We just got off the track. I'm bushed from just admitting it. But did you you made that race, right? You were in the race because I was ready to tell you the leaders were coming.
I know, and I remember that moment, man. I remember that. I was doing good. I was just trying to sit at the back, keep my nose clean, not do anything, stupid, which I did immediately as soon as the green flag dropped. I ran right into my buddy in front of me, Sheaves. I didn't need to do that, but he checked it, I checked, and it was too late. I got into it, but anyways, I started 24th, so I started dead last. I was just back there cruising. I think I was up to 12. And I just drove off the track. Got back on the track, got back to 18th, and got back up into it again where I was almost back into the top 10, and my steering wheel came loose off my desk and turned sideways, and I just launched right off the tube. Or just launched right off the track. So it was.
Did you make the sign? Did you get to the sign?
I don't know. I was yelling too loud. I can't see when I'm yelling that loud.
So the house is about to go up for sale then. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's right. House is going up, and we're going to go move on to a boat. So I got a couple of things I was gonna bring up.
Yeah. So yes.
Yeah. So you had seen these on the Facebook, and we chatted through this, or I brought up some of this and shown this thing to you. But this is a smoker, Roger. Look at this thing is full of holes, and you drag this thing at 7 knots, 8 knots across the top, and they hit it so that the hook is ridiculously big.
Yeah,
but this thing, we had the hook ripped off the back of it 3 times. I mean, it's huge, man. It's like the size of my hand. It's like your arm size. And we were still running into big enough fish where they were literally ripping the hook off the back of it. We had to relearn how to wire it. Now I've got it all wired with I got it all redone with wire. So if something with teeth hits it won't break it.
Okay, so it wasn't wire before? It was just braid? Or what?
It was 400-pound nylon. What is it?
Monofilament.
Mono. Thank you.
Mono? Yeah. Yeah. So they just chomp through it.
Yeah.
Were you getting tuna and stuff hitting that?
Yeah. We ended up getting into the tuna, but I think what we mostly were getting into was Preston. I was so close. They've got teeth. Kingfish. Well, we did have. We had a hammerhead follow us around and just literally take the fish off of our hook. A hammerhead. We had a hammerhead just follow us around. That was probably one of the most incredible parts of the story. It was to have a hammerhead shark that literally hung out with us for like 8 hours. I mean, within 200 foot of the back of the boat, always could see him.
I got another buddy that he's pretty much sailed the world. Like, he's come from Europe across, and so I can't remember if it was him or you, or maybe both of you, showing video of all the dolphins swimming with the sailboat. Did you have footage of that? It was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, we had some phenomenal. They were playing on the bow of the boat. We definitely had a clip of that where they were crisscrossing back and forth. Then we even had like a mama and baby that were playing on the bow of the boat. I mean, it was nuts. By the way, that's how I sold my youngest, JC. That's how I sold her. She's 8. I sold her on the whole thing. She's like, "So, Dad, is there going to be dolphins around the boat?" I'm like, "There's definitely going to be dolphins around the boat." She's like, "Okay, I'm good with this."
That's awesome. So, what's some of your new stylish clothing you wear and stuff? You were modeling something for us earlier. How about you model that again for us?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Headwear.
Yeah. Let's go foul weather.
Hey, buddy, go get your hat.
And if you are watching,
This is for Gary Taylor and his wife.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever the case may be, Tom has transformed himself into the Gorton's fisherman.
Yeah, so he's got a big Downeaster hat on, big yellow Downeaster hat, and it's not your typical racing wear. So
foul weather gear.
So exciting times for you, buddy, and couldn't be happier for you. And I'm glad that you're still going to, stay hooked up with the league, and you'll be at the track as well. So
and I anticipate that we'll be able to tell the quality of the seas while Tom's racing, right? So if it's heavy seas, I'm assuming we'll see him, back and forth on the track. That's what I'm expecting, at least.
No, that'll never happen on the water, dude. That'll never happen. No way, man. No way. Like I said, man, I'll be in a marina at a desk somewhere. That'll never happen.
Yeah, we'll have to warn Joe, because he's always talking about John Hine and getting a hole in his boat and sinking and all that stuff. So you don't say those jokes around Tom, because that's not funny with him. But,
sounds like a motorboat guy to me.
Yeah. Well, no, it's John Hine has the cruise shop. And
right.
Yeah. Joe's always calling it the boat. But
okay.
You could literally be in a boat in your rig, or in your rig in a boat. So that's kind of wild. So anyhow, buddy, it's been great talking to you. Any more questions, Preston?
Well, since we've had Tom on before, I'm going to ask my question again just to see if it's changed. Same rival. Excuse me for not remembering. I don't remember who you said last time anyway. But currently, you finding a rival out there, or is it just?
Man, I tell the guys every week, my only goal is to get fast enough to where I can spin out Parker. So now all we got to do is get Kyle Parker racing again, and then my only goal is just spin him. I just want to spin him once.
Sounds like you might have been getting too close, and now you're getting nervous, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. He abandoned us tonight. Pro Lates, Spartan Racing, head of the whole thing. Kyle Parker, dude, where you at, Parker? Some other league just rolled in, man. We're on it. We're on him, guys.
We had all those big guns coming in tonight, and I'm looking around for where's Parker?
Where's Parker?
No show Parker.
That's what I was saying. Hey, all joking aside, hey, thank you guys for the compliments on my racing. It hasn't been awesome, but I do feel like I have gotten better,
sure.
Month after month, season after season. But it's seriously, man, it's all those guys. It's so awesome. I mean, it changes the whole iRacing experience when you guys are like, okay, let's go in a day early and run some extra laps, and let's compare setups, and then compare each other's times, and watch each other, and it just changes the whole dramatic. I lost my word there. Dynamic of going. It's nice to go into a race with your teammates, and everyone's fired up, and we're like, we got the setup. Let's do this, and it's been a joy. You guys have done a great job handling all this that's going on with the league. Thank you guys for having me on. You had me on in the very beginning, and you got me on now, and I really do appreciate it. the Spartan boys have really gone a long ways to making this a lot more fun. And my flames are sexy now, Preston. You see my VMR wraps, baby? My flames are looking good.
Now, hold on. We'll just leave it there. We'll leave it there. And I'll give them full credit. VMR does a great job. They do a great job.
Yeah, they do. They do.
You're still a trader. That's fine.
One last question. Name of the new boat. Is it the Spartan?
Right now, it's Sayonara. Sayonara is the name. And I can send you guys a little clip, and if you want to somehow throw it in here, you can throw it in here, but I'll send you a little clip. Her name's Sayonara.
Yeah, send it my way. We'll work it.
And you see my teammates are showing up in here, my crew members. We're taking the dogs with us, so we got 2 old English sheepdogs going on the boat with us, so it's gonna be something else.
That's awesome.
Yep, all excited.
Okay, buddy. But yeah, I'm busy watching the dog. Thanks for coming on, man, and best of luck in your new adventures, and keep the Facebook post coming, because I really enjoyed keeping up with you.
Yeah,
will do.
You should start a blog or some kind of on the boat podcast or something, because I'd definitely keep up with that.
Right on. I will. I've got a Facebook page that I created during that whole mission. So it's kind of been a combination of, I did a little bit of streaming of the iRacing, and I did all the stories, the blog, if you will, off the boat. I'll fire that thing back up. I'll hit you up on it, Preston.
Cool. Sounds good, man.
Thanks, guys.
Buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Cheers.
So we're back here again for the second edition of Connor's Corner. I'm just realizing now that I count the episodes of the podcast at the beginning of every episode. There's no way I'm going to also be able to count Connor's Corner segments. So this is the second edition. This is the last time you'll hear me count it as well. But nonetheless, we've got Connor back here after heading back out on the track this past week. So we wanted to catch up with him, and we'll be doing this regularly as we follow his season. So Connor, tell us a little bit. I know we talked to you last week about getting prepared and recovering from some misfortune the previous week. Go better this week?
It went a lot better. Well, it started off kind of scary, so usually we get a practice session or two. Well, last year with COVID, it wasn't a real race day. It was a real race day, but not pre-COVID. It was only one practice session, no time trials, just 2 40-lap features, or 20-lap features, sorry. So with COVID, it was actually 30-minute practice, time trials, then 1 30-lap feature. So we're back to our normal schedule now, and we just made it. I signed in, and they were already calling cars to the track when we pulled in. We pulled in fair amount late, just trying to get the car ready, getting every little piece back together. And you could tell that we had some problems the week before, just body wasn't perfect. But no, we missed practice just because we wanted to scale it as we put new springs, new shocks in it, and a new tire, so it changed ride heights, wedge, and all that. So we wanted that squared away right as we got there. So I missed practice. So I went out for the first 25 laps, brand new brakes, trying to get those worn in, and I was told something, and I shouldn't have listened, but I ran third gear instead of second, and I had no power off the corner, and I was like, something can't be right. So there was a caution or two, and I'd looked down at my RPM gauge, and it was at 1,000. I was like, it can't be right. So I put it in second. I was like, wow, that's a lot better. So I ended up going a lap down when I was in third, just because I had no speed at all. And once I put it in second, I was learning a lot each lap, and then we made some changes for the second feature. And I was staying with the pack, which can't complain about, as it's my 4th race, so I'm still trying to learn these cars. And there was actually a big pile up, so I was able to miss a wreck or two, and it just felt great doing laps and knowing you're trusting the car again. That's my biggest thing, is trusting the car. And I was put 40 solid laps down, and I was fine with that. I'm trusting that, and gonna go again this weekend.
So where did you start that feature? that second feature?
I started both features dead last. I just wanted
what
no one
what
behind
position?
me. 15th.
And where did you finish that second feature?
The first feature, there was two, but the first feature I finished 11th, and I made an error. And then the second feature I finished 7th.
Yeah. So I'm thinking you're probably hard charger.
Yep.
So that's a good night, buddy.
No, exactly. And like I said, I'm just learning to trust the car again. After the brakes were soft and I put it on the wall, brakes they're a scary thing when they don't work properly, and you have a concrete wall that it hurts because it's concrete. And
you know all about that already.
Sadly, but just gaining trust in the car again. And at the end of the night, I was proud we put it on the trailer, and now we can work on things. We're not working to get the car back together. We're working on things. We're working to get it better, actually. We went to go scale the car tonight, and we found out that we destroyed a nut and bolt in the brakes, actually. So it's good to find this out, so we have a day or two to go switch that over and just give us some fresh things.
So when do you race next?
I race this Saturday.
At Flamborough again, of course.
Yep. Also at Flamborough.
And confidence is much higher now.
At an all-time high, I'd say.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, that's really the thing, right? Like, excuse me. Yeah, this last week was really about even less than the finishing position. It was just getting a solid race under your belt. Like, you just need to get those laps in, get the seat time, and going from green to checkered. And like you said, the confidence has got to go up when you put it on the trailer and it's in one piece. And it's like you're saying, now I get to learn how to make the car better than how to learn to repair the car. Both important, but to get better, for you to get better as a driver every week, you're going to have to be able to learn to make the car better too. And it seems like everything's on the right track.
Yeah, exactly. It's also, you can feel, like in iRacing, I can feel things. You feel tight, you feel loose. But I don't have a seat cover, and you can actually feel a lot of things through the seat. That's where you feel everything, is through your butt. It sounds weird, but you know, when we wrecked 3 weekends ago, we lost a rim. Tire's fine. So my dad, as he left for Brighton, our crew chief is also a tire guy. So my dad said, just throw a rim on it. He ended up grabbing the tire trailer rim, which is rusty as crap, and it's an inch or two smaller because we used it to fit on the trailer. And the second feature, I was complaining. I was like, it was very tight. And we watched replays, and my dad's like, what tire did you guys use? When Rob goes, oh, the trailer one. He's like, I think I found out why you're tight, sorry, just because of the difference. Yeah, just because of the difference in offset and how small the tire is, it created a wicked push on exit.
So I had a question.
Crazy,
I had a question. And I just blinked.
I'm glad it's not just me, man.
Yeah. So
you can always edit this out.
This coming week. Now I know this past week you said it was just practice and then into the features. Is that the same format each week? So that it's not typically there won't be time trials.
No. So I don't know how they're gonna do it after we got that race in, but I'm pretty sure we'll get 2 practices. We missed out on the second one. Something happened, and none of us were actually ready. All our division kind of messed up, but when we first get there, you'll go for a draw for your first feature. So I drew 24th, and that would have put me, I don't know how many numbers are in the whatever container that you pull from. Yeah, exactly. So then it'll invert for second feature. So I'm pretty sure they do that for the whole season. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So any stream this week?
Not live. There's people who do it after. They post it like a few days after. And I'll have an onboard camera, so I'll be able to get you guys some footage from there. And man, it's one thing that goes actually pretty unrecognized. They're expensive, but when you put a camera in the car, as a rookie driver, you can't explain a lot. So it's tough for me to explain some things to my dad. And when we got that camera, we were looking, I was like, oh, that's one thing I couldn't explain. He said, all right, you should have we could have went down on a track bar or moved wedge around to make it looser and tighter. So it's nice that you can kind of explain stuff with a camera that you can't actually explain verbally.
Yeah, and so I'm glad you said that, because that was the question I was going to ask. Is after a race, what's your breakdown? Like, obviously you get the car on the trailer, but do you go back and like watch the race just to find where you made mistakes or things you did right, that kind of thing?
Right after the race and that night, me and if my dad's there, we'll also talk. But he is actually not going to be there for a few races just because with G-Force. So last weekend, me and the car chief, crew chief, whatever you want us to be called, we just would go over what I could have done better, what the car was doing, what we can do next week to have it better, and then what we want to do throughout the week. So we can make changes and we'll have a set night. And sadly, it's Wednesday, so I can't run Hometown Heroes, but I'll watch onboard footage from even other cars in the division, because that helps a lot to see where we might be able to pick up some time, and where if they're fast, I can watch them and see what they're doing differently. Now, it is different cars, but from driver, you can kind of see where they're picking up time and I'm not. So I know where I need to pick up time, but that's just also a confidence thing.
That's awesome, buddy. I'm liking this segment of the show, by the way. I think this is great. Just going along with you and seeing how things progress. So we look forward to episode number 3, because I know Preston can't keep track, and look forward to having you back on and giving us the story on your successes and stuff, and hopefully you'll have some footage. You're going to get some phone footage for us, buddy, and never did see that, so you owe us.
Yeah, I was actually at the track last night when Preston sent me a message, hey, you need to send this video, if not, you're going to come back on. I said, I'll try and get it to you. I was at the track working on a car, so I was never able to, but I was saying to Preston before, we'll have the camera in the car, so I'll be able to get you guys some footage.
Okay, and some phone footage of